Hello, and welcome to this basic cider brewing video. Previous videos have shown you how to brew mead, which is a relatively straightforward conversion of sugar into ethanol and CO2. Cider is a step up from this, requiring more processing of the raw ingredients and attention to fermentation. Apples are crushed, and this forms a puree. This is a semi-liquid mash that is then pressed to extract juice. Juice then forms the basis of the brew, just like honey. Alternatively, you can try and buy a bulk quantity of apples and use a juicer, but most domestic models will not cope with the volume of fruit and possibly void your warranty. You can simplify this by buying a large quantity of juice from the local market. Depending on your plans, you will need a fermenter of between 5 and 25 litres. As seen here, there is a 25 litre fermenter and two 5 litre demijohns. The 5 litre demijohns are intended to run test batches that are a variation on the primary batch going in the 25 litre fermenter. Doing so will minimize waste if something should happen to go wrong. Currently, there is 30 litres of juice pasteurizing on the side, as no one wants to watch a video with hours of juicing and pasteurizing. Next, you see the airlocks and plugs. Yeast nutrient. This is an SN9 yeast from Winter's Harvest. Pouring the juice into your sterile fermenter, let it sit until the temperature drops to approximately 20 degrees centigrade. This is slightly low for fermentation, but it is easier to handle and the yeast takes less shock when added. The yeast is suspended in more pasteurized juice. This is pitched into the fermenter along with nutrient and any other additions you may have in mind. You now have a cider wash. Unlike mead, cider has less sugar in it and it is more accessible. This reduces the fermentation time. Wait 7 to 14 days and you can rack it. If you do not see bubbles in the first 4 days, something may have gone wrong, and this will be covered in a later video. Put the cider into bottles to age slightly. If you wish to carbonate the cider, do so now by adding a half teaspoon of table sugar, or preferably glucose, to each bottle. If you are carbonating, make sure to use a swing top bottle, like that pictured. This is because the CO2 can build up and blow the top off the bottles that are not sealed correctly. Approximately 1 month after the carbonation is done, you can leave it to age for a month or more. Unlike mead, cider does not need to sit for months, and unless stored right, cannot sit for months. Some brief warnings are important. Unlike mead, cider is made from a more complex source of sugar, apple juice. This leads to certain concerns that have not been relevant before, specifically the formation of methanol in the brew. Methanol is formed in significant quantities in the presence of pectin. In order to minimize the amount of methanol that may occur, the following points need to be followed. Avoid this by skinning all fruit when you press or juice it. Use only the fleshy part of the fruit, no cores, seeds, or skin, and avoid over-fermenting your brew or brewing at a high temperature. Following these 3 points will minimize the amount of methanol produced in your brew and ensure you have an enjoyable drink and retain your vision. Thank you for watching, and please post any comments, questions, or suggestions below.